The decision is yours, of course, but we should return to Catslair to devise an effective strategy, which will...
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the Super 7 Catslair. You got 2 days left, probably less than that now that you're watching this. And why is this significant? Why is it a big deal? Why even talk about this? So that you know, because this is one of those made-to-order type of things, and you may see it in other places. I'll talk about that, but if you wait, you might be paying a crazy price. And so we're going to kind of discuss what's going on. It's struggling to hit the 5,000. What does that mean if it only sells 4,000 instead of 5,000? And what does it mean if you decide you want one in a year? And we're going to look at precedents that were set in the past by some of their other projects. Well, this project right here. We're going to discuss this and more coming up. So Super 7 started all this out with some teasers, and I still have those teaser pictures right here somewhere. They were okay, but not a lot of fun. But SDCC, when this thing was shown at SDCC, it was mind-blowing. And it blew everyone's mind. It's still kind of hard to get your mind around this. And those of us, including myself, who haven't seen it in person, are going to be impressed when it comes in. Because everybody that's seen it in person says that it's way more impressive than any picture can even say. And when you see how big these figures are, and then you see how small they look in comparison, this thing is huge. So with that, this is really a massive feat that they're even bringing it about, bringing it to life. And for the price, I think the value is there. And I'm actually considering getting a second one, and we're going to talk about that. Now to recap, this is $650 plus $100 shipping plus tax. So you're looking at nearly $800, and that's a lot of money, and that is. I backed one during the early backing offer, and I got the key, so I should be getting the key with my first one. I've considered getting a second one, but I'm spread really thin, and it's really gonna be hard for me to pick up a second one. If I get a second one, it would probably be to sell it or trade it or any of those kinds of things, so I don't really need to buy a second one, but I always planned on it. But at this price, it is a bit challenging. But I do want to say that it's very impressive. I like how they did the rock walls on the side, kind of like we've seen with Castle Grayskull and Snakemount and all these other ones where it's a double clamshell. Well, this is a triple clamshell and it closes in. That really does work. And that's amazing. I mean, I like that they thought of doing that. That really works out for me. And here's the back of it. I actually probably, this is the funny part, I probably will display mine like this from the back. So you can see it from the back. And so with that, you want to see the inside, all the things that are going on. But I'm planning on moving my entire display from a shelf to all the figures populating this instead. I think that makes a whole lot more sense, and it works a whole lot better for me. And I think a lot of other collectors are going to do that, because this is going to take up so much of your real estate for your display. Then you kind of need to do something along those lines. Now, kind of zooming in here, there are going to be different swappable lenses, I guess you could say, to put in there for that screen, and there's going to be light up gimmicks and those kinds of things. So it's a lot of fun stuff in there with the Tetris board. They're playing Tetris while they're looking through all this. But this really is very impressive. It's all going to look like the show, and some people have pointed out where it's not show accurate, it's not perfect, but it's got the feel. It captures the feel for me. It captures the vibe. Here we go with this rotating weapon arsenal that's in there. I think that is really cool. It's just another nice touch. So many really cool things with this. And this is another thing. This is something you don't want to keep in the box. You want to open this up, and you want to enjoy it, every little bit of this, because it is so amazing. And as a display piece or as a play piece, it can be both. And I really feel like the Thunder Tank was built pretty well and pretty solid. It was a little bit plain Jane, but I'm okay with that. This thing looks a little spicier, like more paint apps. There's more things here and there to use with it, and I think it looks really cool. So this is all included. This is all part of it, except for you don't get a Samo flange in there. I don't see a Samo flange in there. I wonder if I haven't seen anybody sell a Samo flange by itself. But then you have this table which seats was it 7, and the cool looking chairs in there, and the Baskin Robbins spoon chairs, and then that giant wall with the windows. So making use of the inside, the interior of the rock walls, and obviously they're going to mold it with the rock on both sides kind of going through and showing through. But this is one way to fix that and make that look cool And I think they did a good job with it. I mean, just every aspect of this has been impressive. Now, this thing is fully funded, so no matter what, it's getting made. So whether you buy it or you don't buy it, it's getting made and people are going to have it. And so they're meeting their minimum, which was really smart to figure out the price point for the minimum to only be $3,000. And so we're not at $5,000 yet. We're only at we're not even at $4,000. So we're only at 35 or something like that. But the tier 1 unlock, and we're not there yet to the 4,000, is this. Now, I'm not impressed with this really at all, but it's still something to have. It's cool. I figured we'd have blown through and hit that 5,000 no problem. But the problem with that is that everybody wanted it really, really bad went ahead and got it and backed it at the 3,000 mark so that we could get that early bird. And it worked. They got the early bird. I got my early bird. But not much has happened since then. I mean, literally, almost nothing has happened since then. But what really is important is at 5,000, the tier 2 unlock, we get the clear Lion-O. Now, most people collecting this have like 4 Lion-Os by this point. And yeah, not a big deal. But the Astral clear Lion-O is really cool. Having a clear figure. And this thing's going to be super ultra low run. Probably only going to be 4 or 5. Well, 5,000. Yeah, it has to be at least 5,000 made if that's the goal to get into it. But it looks cool. I'd love to have one. And frankly, I wouldn't mind having an extra one. So buying a second set, these things would sell. If this hits it, these things will be selling for over $100 on eBay. Easy. If not, something stupid. Have you ever seen the glow-in-the-dark exclusive Mumra? That figure's okay, but it's pushing $150 on eBay. So these kind of exclusives, especially like this, are really sought after by collectors. So anyway, and what else is in the box here? We've got all these parts and pieces, and I'm not sure how much of it you have to assemble. So that kind of gets me wondering when they put pictures like this up. Tells me some of the stuff is going to be assembled by the end user. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully not too much. And then some of this is going to be assembled. Now they did say that it's going to have the similar amount of assembly as you're going to have with the Snake Mountain. And I didn't get a Snake Mountain, so I don't know. And I didn't really watch a lot of those videos about reviewing the Snake Mountain. But what does this have in common with the Snake Mountain? Well, the Snake Mountain at TF Source, I'm guessing what they did is they funded a handful, maybe 100. I don't know how they did it, and then resold theirs for 1,200 and then sold out. And so I remember when this thing first started showing up, and I was really confused about how things worked because I didn't collect Masters Universe at the time, and I completely missed the boat on Classics. I had just learned what it was, and my friend was filling me in on what was going on with Super 7, and it was kind of confusing to me from the outside looking in. And then I see these popping up, and of course I'm on TF Source all the time, especially back when this was coming up, and I think it was like 2018 or something like that, 2017, 18. But when this popped up, I remember seeing it on TF Source and just confused, like baffled by the price. But what I think they did is they backed them for like $650 and bought a whole bunch and then resold them for almost double the price and made some money. And that's what's going to happen. I see the same thing happening with the Catslair. But if you think about it, there's only 5,000, if they even hit the 5,000 made of that. That makes it one of the lowest crowd funds in modern history. So we're talking modern history is like post 2022 or 2020, post 2020, where a lot of collectors jumped into the collecting market and just started collecting. And so with that, this would be one of the lowest run items. And I don't remember or even know how many of the Super 7 Snake Mountains were. But here's a 1450 CAD, which is probably about the same price that the US dollar, same price in US dollars as what TF Source was charging. But this is kind of what you see. So if you don't jump on this and you go to try to buy it somewhere else on secondhand market or something like that, then you can expect to pay this kind of money. And you can expect to see these prices and selling out if you pass on it. Okay, so why do I want you to buy this? I don't really care if you buy this or not. My whole point of making this video is just to get the information out there and send a quick reminder, because I'm not gonna lie, it was off my radar because I already bought mine. I've got my early bird, but I've been thinking about getting a second, and I had always planned on getting back in a second, putting it on the payment plan, but it's over 2 months, so most of it still hits in 1 month of a credit card cycle. But thinking about this, I was thinking about doing another one and swinging it, moving a lot of things around, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should not. But the thing is that there's only going to be so many made. And with that, you saw the prices of the Snake Mountain. You see that it's a much different world now. I could see those easily being 2,000 in a year. And this is not one like we're going to see with the Thunder Tank. It's not like you're going to see Thunder Tanks everywhere for sale all the time, and some on sale and some on eBay less than the $500 price. This is one of those that's going to be 2,000 or 1,200 or 1,500 down the road. If you see what things were selling for on the Snake Mountain, same thing would happen here. Also, like to point out that this is way better than the vintage LJN1, but the LJN1 has the charm. So you're going to pay for the charm, you're going to pay for the extreme rarity, and with that, there's probably less LJN1s in good shape available to buy than this number, obviously. But if you're looking to get a vintage one, you can get a sort of a discolored one that's not complete for 1,000, up to probably a complete one for 1,500. That one at the bottom is 1,500 complete, I think, and in pretty decent looking condition. Also, you got to look at the blue of the lion's head and all that kind of stuff. You're not going to worry about any of that with Super 7, and of course, I think they'll have some extra produced so that they can push through the parts, give you parts if parts are missing and that kind of stuff. But this is one of those big deals. I was really pleased with my Thunder Tank, and I know I'm going to be pleased with my Catslair. So anyway, this video is just here to remind you that this is a thing. If you want one, then swing over to Super 7 to get one. If you don't want one, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm still getting mine. That's all that I can say about that. But it would be nice if those unlocks happen. If they don't happen, it's not the end of the world to me either. I think that this is one of those sets that holds its own. The value's there for the playset itself. Nobody's really being sold on any of the tiers. And that is a good thing, that this product can stand on its own 2 feet. But it might be one of the lowest ever made in a crowdfund ever. But we'll find out. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Are you getting one? Are you in on one? Are you glad that I made a video to remind you? Like, subscribe, to Dear Hanger out.
So, what have you discovered, my pathetic pets?
You do understand that running the Tower of Omens will be your sole responsibility. I'll be too busy running Catslair to help you.
I may not see like you do, but I have developed my other senses so that I know as much as you do about what is happening around you.
Split and blast off!